Our driver's about to head off on their sighting lap for the Clipsal 500. And our fly cam will track them all the way. 500 metres of cable. It'll operate at 160 k's an hour, so it should do enough to track those guys as they come around turn 13 and up the straight. Our Fuso grid, the first one for 2007, has James Courtney on pole position. Alongside him, Jamie Whincup. So 2 Ford Falcon BFs will start on the front row. Then car number 16, position 3, Garth Tander, alongside Mark Winterbottom. We've got Jason Richards and Craig Lowndes in positions 5 and 6. Todd Kelly will be in position number 7 and Russell Ingall in 8.
He had a few little dramas yesterday, but it all came good for him in qualifying, which was good, and he will be alongside Stephen Johnson.
Lee Holdsworth in position number 10 there as we go back to number 11, and Greg Murphy from Tasman Motorsport still carrying car 51. A good performance from Jason Bright. Car 18 is Will Davison. He will start from position 13. Dean Canto had his hands full with the Gary Rogers Motorsport Commodore, and he copped a rap over the knuckles for that in the earlier sessions. There was the 2006 Series champion, Rick Kelly, at the Toll HSV dealer team. And look at that, Mark Scaife will start from behind him.
That presents an interesting question, doesn't it? Because when you look through a field like this, Matthew, of Mark Scaife, Rick Kelly, Stephen Richards, down the order in 14, 15 and position 18, well, it certainly raises question marks as to how they play the game. Do they get involved in the rumble or don't they? Max Wilson, new colours for this year. Wow graphics on the car, and it does look absolutely fantastic, the WPS entry. Fabian Coulthard, a full-time ride, and he's alongside young Jack Perkins we spoke with earlier.
Yeah, and I did mention to you those nerves, that question about the nerves. I mean, Bradley Jones will certainly be feeling it, and as I said, he's been here and done it plenty of times before. As we go back to Steve Owen and Adam Macro filling in for Paul Radicic in the Team Kiwi racing car, and Shane Price will start from position 31 in his first full-time year of V8 supercar driving. And I understand there's been a few little problems for his teammate Jack Perkins, Grant Denyer.
Oh, you won't believe how the best laid plans can be ruined before the races even start. Despite months of preparation for this race, Larry, the most extraordinary thing has happened to Jack. He's broken his glasses pulling his helmet on.
I believe, and just had a quick look there. They might be okay, but yeah, not what we wanted to happen right now.
How's it affecting him on that run around lap before?
Oh, well, he needs glasses to have correct vision, but they're not broken, so they've fallen off type of thing. But they're not how he wants them to be, and he hasn't got his spare ones here somewhere. So yeah, a bit of bad preparation.
You're the most famous spectacled face down pit lane. You can't lend him yours?
I wish I could, but no, not the exact fit, unfortunately. But look, I don't know, what is it, SHIT happens?
Good luck, mate. I'm sure you'll battle on.
Thanks for starting the season like that for us, Larry Perkins. The question was, see, if Larry gave Jack his glasses, then what does Larry walk around in? And I guess a lot of people in the team would say, that's fine for us. We don't want to see, we don't want the boss to see what we're doing.
Oh, Larry had them all locked up trying to get that out, though, didn't he? There was smoke coming off his tongue, and then trying to figure out how to say it. What a great spectacle. 31 cars lining up in position 2 by 2. Flycam shows a great view alongside the pit wall. All the crews vacate the wall for the start of the race for safety purposes.
This is what it's all about. We're about to start something big because we are racing for 2007, and Jamie Whincup has swamped James Courtney towards turn 1. A great start from the Team Vodafone car. Mark Winterbottom slots into second. Garth Tander holds on to third. And we've had a spin already at turn 1.
Super Cheap cars pointing the wrong way, and McConville out of shape backwards just at the exit of one. He got bumped and skipped up over the curbing. James Courtney had a shot at the start. It almost looked as though he might have either chug-a-lugged away from the line or a slipping clutch. Cam's away again. No great damage done, but he's behind the intervention vehicles. That won't do his sense of humour any favours. They're off turn 7. They've already negotiated the top end of the circuit. They're on cold brakes, cold tyres. Jason Bargwana it was in the WPS entry, just climbing the ripple strip, turn 8. 235k approach, 210 across the face of the corner.
Whincup leads into turn 9. Winterbottom is there as well. The two Jim Beam cars have come together. Davison and Johnson. They started 3 or 4 positions apart. Round of the final final turn, turn 13 for the first lap of 78. We're on board with Craig Lowndes.
And there we go.
Standing lap time for Whincup at 29.1. The defending champion in good shape with a .34 margin from Winterbottom. Ford, Garth Tander a solid start third. Courtney will be frustrated by losing that pole advantage. Jason Richards, first turn to wheel in this car yesterday. His teammate Greg Murphy did have a brief test at Winton last week. Todd Kelly, Craig Lowndes, Russell Ingall, Lee Holdsworth, Greg Murphy, that's your 10.
The defending champion here at Adelaide has had the best possible start. Take a look, keep your eyes on Jamie Whincup on the right-hand side. Courtney gets bogged down, Tander goes around him. Winterbottom just follows Whincup. James Courtney gets squeezed from pole back to fourth. You'll see Cam McConville. Ooh, contact.
In fact, it was the other super cheap car that was involved in that down the inside, launching into the side of the number 12 Team BOC entry.
That's of Andrew Jones. That would have been a whole lot worse.
3 cars don't fit side by side through turn 1's the moral of that story.
I reckon that was 90% boiling blood. First turn of 2007. So Jamie Whincup locks at 24.11 for his second lap.
And as a result of the off, Cam McConville's talking about the likelihood of having to come in due to a flat tyre. The team will have to take a look at that. Whincup, 24.1, as you said, Matt. He's got a .6 margin now over Winterbottom. Starting to form a little queue.
There's a little bit of a gap there you see between Mark Winterbottom and Garth Tander. Take it up to turn 6. That always has the flow-on effect. Tander squeezing Courtney, who's squeezing Richards and Todd Kelly. And let's go down to this turn 8.
And just grab 6th gear before they get to the turn. They're using the shortest of the diff ratios at this track. It's a 3.7 diff. Here's a move. Not quite for Jason Richards.
Super cheap team in pit lane. After that contact, McConville has said the guards rubbing on the rear tyres. They'll replace those and try and get out the slide hammer and bang that rear guard. They're grabbing for those now on the hammers, and they'll get that guard and those tyres going, fellas.
Thank you, Daniel. We'll be looking at Mark Scaife's time because he's put in some good sector times around this third lap.
Go, mate.
Dunlop control tyre looking a bit worse for wear after the guards rubbed on it, ruptured it. One little change to the category this year also is the front guards are a composite material. They're no longer metal mud guards on the front. They're a fiberglass Kevlar mix.
Just talking to the Stone Brothers team, guys, and they are disappointed, but they're not dejected about James Courtney's start. It was just a simple problem in that delicate mix between clutch and throttle. He just didn't get it right. There is no slipping clutch, and he just bogged it down. But they believe in this driver. They believe in this car. If there is anyone who can go the distance around here, they know it's James. He is 2 to 3 times fitter than ever before. He's ready to go.
He's put in a good time around the first sector, Grant.
Just done a 29.3 to that first sector split between turns 6 and 7. Mark Scaife has done the fastest lap of the race of 1:23.6. He's in 15th. They're all starting to see tyre pressures and temperatures normalise now, so we're seeing fast sector splits. James Courtney's done the fastest split to sector 2. Watching for the Fujitsu car, almost having trouble pulling it up then Jason Bright, just skating in on the rear brakes a little. Start with tyre pressures in the order of about 19 or 20 psi in the old language. They'll build up to around 30, 31 ideal. Scaife on Bright.
Only 5 laps in, and the Super Cheap Auto Racing team have had both cars in. Dumbrellas just stopped in the new VE. Contact to the right rear. They've changed that tyre and sent him back out.
Mark Scaife is certainly showing plenty of pace, as he did in 2006.
It's a great bit of track up Wakefield Street here to the bumps. 205 kilometres an hour. Second gear right-hander at turn 4. Squirt up to 125 k's. Wipe some speed out of it. 80 k's on the gas again, 125. 80 again across the face of it. Skate all over the back of Bright. Uses the exit curve. 7. 80Ks accelerating. Bright, he's got a bit of oversteer on exit. Mark will have a crack at him as they make the run down towards 8.
Oh, it's his time for now.
Watch up the inside.
There goes the move. Escape slots another one. Good qualifying in 06, but finishing was another story altogether. In fact, he was second best of the season in qualifying, averaging 4th across the year. When it come to round finishes, he averaged 15th.
That was a graphic example of what happens when you don't quite make the exit you want off turn 7. Jason would only have lost a couple of kilometres an hour on the corner exit speed. Andrew Jones into the pit garage there. So he was involved in that squeeze at turn 1 off the line. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a bent steering arm. Let's have a listen. They're trying to insert the incompressible jacks under the car. They're not allowed beneath the car unless they're in place for obvious safety reasons. Now it's up. There goes the incompressible jack, or the stubbings as they're called. And they'll have a look at the steering arm on that. Looks like in the front right corner, they're already into it. Either straighten it or replace it. There's some damage to the front right corner of the front air dam as well. Already it's roaring hot under the great look at the front wing. There's the damage to the tyre.
Yeah, that's just been shredded to bits. Stints at GRM in Tasman for Andrew Jones. He's back.
Did you hear Phil Curtis in the background? Run your hands down the control arms. Make sure there's no bends.
It's popped out underneath too, Phil. I'm going to take it off.
We're going to be there for a while.
How's that? It looks right.
You can see there's a signature on the front left corner of the car there as well, because remember Andrew was squeezed from both sides, and it was both the super cheap cars that he was battling with on the run in. It's a great look at what they look like at the front of a V8 supercar. There's the big black brake duct that sucks the air in through the centre of that hub. Will Davison's done the fastest split to the second sector, and the fastest lap of the race now belongs to Garth Tander, a 1 minute 23.37. And there they are. Whincup in control, heading up Wakefield Street. Winterbottom, 0.7 behind. Tander, front right is locked for the leader. Jamie Whincup goes into the escape area at turn 4. There must be oil down there because they've gone off in sympathy. Tander follows him. There must have been something on the road.
Okay, race is on, race is on.
Oh, that has cost Jamie Whincup dearly. What we think is some oil on the road, inexplicable off for Jamie Whincup, who was followed by Garth Tander. So
watch this
here.
Up in the braking area, across the bumps into turn 4, and Jamie's car wallows, surfs from bump to bump. The Zinger replay tells the story, and he's got a sympathiser. Garth Tander runs with him, flick spinning away he goes. Great news for James Courtney because he recovers from the tardy start, and a new fastest lap of the race, Garth Tander, 23.37.
Yes, and the team Vodafone garage, of course, they're very disappointed. Oil on the track is what they're saying down here. Roland Dane, the team boss, very disappointed with what's just happened to Jamie.
There's a big oil trail on the run there, so somebody has got oil hemorrhaging all over the place, and they were the pioneers, the first drivers to experience it. They weren't aware of it, and off they went. So Winterbottom and Courtney get a free run through there.
At the worst possible spot too, a very bumpy part of the track. Todd Kelly is all over Jason Richards at the moment. He is monstering the back of car number 3. Will he do it at 8? No. Will he do it at 9?
Not quite close enough at the moment, Matt. Stephen Richards is reporting quite a bit of oversteer from the number 6 Ford Performance Racing Castrol entry as well. Stephen's still down in 15th. Winterbottom is your race leader, 1.4 second margin, James Courtney. Then Jason Richards, it's car number 39 that's spitting the oil out, we understand, and here is why. Zinger Replay tells the story. And the reason this often happens around here is you belt the car over a curb, it's easy to dislodge an oil line, or if they got a more catastrophic failure in the Sirame entry, we'll find out more. But there was a lot of oil left there by 39.
We picked it up top of turn 4, so that's gone pretty much from the centre chicane all the way through. Going to have to be eagle-eyed from here on in. We watch Jason Richards and Todd Kelly have their battle for 3rd and 4th.
And did you see Mark Winterbottom driving shallow into turn 4? The white flag, by the way, is there's a slow vehicle negotiating the track as Andrew Jones rejoins after the repair to the front suspension on the car number 12 Team BOC entry. More cars have gone up there, so they're being trapped by the oil. I think that'll be Brad Jones. Or has he got a bigger problem?
By the way, he's parked, he's up towards turn 6 there. Andrew Jones has already parked it, as you said, but he's now rejoined after that damage caused by the squeeze from the super cheap auto cars. Either they were carrying a lot of pace off the start line, or he dug himself into a hole, because Andrew Jones started a couple of positions ahead of Paul Dumbrell and some 6 or 7 positions ahead of Cam McConville. This is the problem for Bradley Jones.
All right, so Brad has actually just wandered off to the side of the circuit. This was earlier. The Zinger replay shows that he's gone to the pit exit area and has thought about going back to the pits. Obviously got it restarted. You can see a little bit of the black smoke and solved the problem. Maybe Kim Jones can shed some light.
What's the story?
I don't know. We worked so hard to get to this point from the last race last year, and it feels like we haven't done anything. We run around like chooks with our head cut off. Bradley's car's run out of brakes. It's just got no pedal whatsoever, so he's very carefully trying to get back here. Keep in mind that when he puts his foot in the brake, nothing happens. So he doesn't want to get in anybody's road, and he doesn't want to hit anything. So what's happened to that car, I don't know. Andrew's car had a very badly damaged rim and one of the tyres from where he got caught in the sandwich. And we've fixed that, checked all the vital points, can't really see anything, so he's back out there. So now we've got another one coming in, and we're just about to do that now. So,
he's got a
alrighty. As I watch it on TV, and the back wheel's just fallen off the car.
I tell you what, Team BOC, you're full of luck. What was it, Chinaman, Black Cat?
I really don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on here. So anyway, we'll have a look at it when it gets back here.
The front left has departed car number 14. And it just went from bad to worse for Kim, Bradley and Andrew Jones, although Andrew is still out there.
The whole rotor was gone then. Front left rotor was missing, as in the brake rotor. So they've got a big problem. Meanwhile, the removes afoot. Mark Winterbottom, 1.3 second margin from James Courtney, who's got plenty of daylight, back to this man, Todd Kelly, who has cleared Jason Richards. Then it's Russell Ingall, Craig Lowndes, Greg Murphy. Lee Holdsworth continues to do a tremendous job in the Valvoline Cummins Gary Rogers entry. There he is, applying pressure to the back of Murphy at the moment. Behind these fellas, it's Stephen Johnson and Rick Kelly, that's the 10. Then Scapes up to 11th, Will Davison 12th. Here's the leaderboard. You can check the progress of your favourite driver as we take a peek at the front left-hand corner of the Brad Jones Team BOC entry. They're trying to figure out what to do with the Go Jacks. Normally they're applied under the wheel and tyre. There isn't one there. Mess under there.
Rick Kelly's made a good move through the field. Started at 15th position. Defending series champ has moved up to 10, and Scapes gone with him to 11th. There he is, the Toll HSV dealer team, the second youngest series champion. Completed every race in 2006.
The shot that we saw of Brad's car looked like the whole front left hub was gone.
Stephen Johnson in front of Kelly. Right with him up Main Straight.
Get into that rhythm.
Oh, there's some heavy hitters in the middle of the pack.
Stephen Richards has found an explanation for a little bit of the correction, the oversteer in the car. That is, the back of the car sliding around too much. The bar is self-adjusting. It's going to the full stiff position all the time. It's making him slide around. The leaders are still in the 23s at the moment. After you get past about position 4 or 5, they've drifted into the 1 minute 24s. The full effects of 120 litres of fuel and all that weight is certainly able to knock around these rear tyres. And when you excite the rear tyres in second gear around all those tight corners, it certainly makes traction a bigger issue and harder to keep consistency in the car.
Back to midfield we go. Jason Bright, Fujitsu entry. Stephen Richards. We're on board with Craig Lowndes. And loves this circuit well. Was the inaugural round winner here back in 1999. Those were the Commodore days.
We were talking about the oversteer earlier on Stephen Richards' car. Guys, the boys in Ford Performance Racing, Team Edwards, the team boss, is just saying that it's no concern to them. They've set the car up that way, and as the fuel load goes down, then the steering problem will go away.
Fastest sector split to the first timing line for James Courtney at 29.2. He's starting to narrow the gap to Mark Winterbottom. Mark's report is correct. As the fuel bleeds away and the weight goes away from the back of the car, you're starting with about 90 kilos of fuel on. The balance may come to Stephen. The problem is, if the car's sliding too much early in the race, it hurts the rear tyres so much. That was an awkward exit then from turn 11 for Craig Lowndes. He understeered wide and made a very slow corner exit, and then everybody had a shot at him on the run up to the final corner.
Murphy's like a dog with a bone now. He got the scent.
Well, they can sense that Craig's a bit weak at the moment. He's starting to form a little queue behind him, so I don't think he's quite got the car balance that he wanted. The other thing that changed today over yesterday, I'm just listening to Campbell Little, Craig's engineer here. They're making anti-roll bar adjustments in the car at the moment to try and get him some relief of the way the car's behaving. They put a tyre bundle on the apex of turn 4 so that the boys don't shortcut the track. Whoa, 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 Murphy, where are you going? A big dive bomb yielded nothing, dropped the spot.
Handed it over to Lee Holdsworth. Mark Winterbottom remains our race leader. James Courtney in second position. Todd Kelly third. Jason Richards is fourth. Russell Ingall fifth.
About that spot.
Lowndes in sixth. Now
That's
Holdsworth.
really sensitive. Really sensitive.
That's the voice of Greg Murphy. Steve Henderson saying, have a think about that bias. He's talking about the brake bias, cockpit control, where you can alter the percentage of the brakes front and rear. Murphy saying it's pretty sensitive. Judging by what we just saw, no kidding.
Tell you what, though, an error at turn 8 to only get away with it with one spot.
Yeah, turn 9.
Turn 9, sorry. To only get away with it with one spot is not too bad.
And now he's got a lot of pressure again on Lee Holdsworth. He's in the hot exit air of the preceding car, which takes a little grip away from the front of Greg's car, heats up the brakes, heats up the engine, heats up his brain.
Just thinking about an error at turn 8. There's no runoff at turn 8. It's just nothing but concrete.
No, that's right. You do run out of space.
Well,
there,
you probably end up at turn 9 anyway.
Here we go, another move. Rick Kelly, clean on Stephen Johnson, done very well.
That puts Kelly from 10th up to 9th. Now he can take aim at Greg Murphy. And Scaife and Rick Kelly have been partners in crime pretty much from about lap 3. They've started to mow down a few people.
Great job, mate. Really good effort. Let's get into that rhythm. Keep into that rhythm. Have a drink.
It's Eric Pender talking to Rick Kelly. that's been the byword for that team, rhythm. Had a big theme for last year, and that was consistency. That was the strategy for the Toll HSV dealer team. Paid dividends with the #1 position, the #1 car. It makes you a marked man.
Will Davison's got a problem, and he's coming to the pit lane in the second of the Jim Beam. Dick Johnson Racing Falcons. We'll get the boys in the lane onto that shortly. Here he is. Saw him plummeting down the computer order.
Action in pit lane for Will Davison. The Jim Beam Racing car number 18, 19th in the season last year. His 20th championship start.
Looked like he had a left rear tyre well and truly flat, so he may have made contact with either the concrete wall or another competitor, but he started to plummet down the computer order on the timing. He had to do about half the circuit. There's the amount of gravel there between turns 1 and 2, so you've got to stay right on line down there. Oh, someone's having a huge moment.
That was Todd Kelly. You'll find that was Todd Kelly that was in front of him. I was just about to say he came out in a red-hot pack because Kelly, Richards and Ingle represent positions 3, 4 and 5.
John Bow's got trouble in the front right-hand corner of the car. Now, I wonder if that's related in any way, but that's going to be game over for him. You can see that new section of front mudguard that I talked about.
Thinking maybe the tyre went flat. This will be the answer for the Paul Cruikshank racer. Oh, he only just clipped it too, hence all the gravel. Oh. Spraying everywhere. Obviously the problem was at the exit of the main straight. And in the end,
this was a little earlier with Greg Murphy having a lunge at Craig Lowndes. Couldn't get it done. Didn't quite have the brake bias set the right way, and was very lucky not to go into the back of the motorphone Ford. Lost a spot to Lee Holdsworth, and now he's battling with Lee once again. He recovered very well from it, and his treatment of the brake pedal was clever because he didn't damage a tyre. But on the subject of damaged tyres, something weird's happened here to John Bow. Did they have a mechanical failure, or did a tyre go down?
Boys, the reason Will Davidson came in at left rear was deflated. They, as to no reason why he had to come in, they think it was because of the debris. A lot of the teams have been complaining about it on the road. They think that was the problem.
Going down.
This might tell a little more of the story here. Watch the front right. No, it's some kind of a mechanical failure. You can actually see the front right wheel collapsing in the guard. All of a sudden, it's got about 6 inches of toe in. So that's a bit odd. Something strange has gone on there. And that's ultimately careered John off the road. Oh no, did you hear that? His cool suit is not working.
He's making his 212th championship start, equals the record of Peter Brock. Hasn't gone to plan so far at Paul Cruikshank Racing for John Bow. But everything is going to plan for the Ford teams out in front. Mark Winterbottom continues to lead in fresh air, and James Courtney is going along for the ride nicely in second. There's 5 seconds back to Todd Kelly in third.
Paul Cruikshank, this was supposed to be JB's swan song year. This is really not the way to start, is it?
No, it's not. It's it looks like it's broken something in the front. We're not too sure yet, but we just saw the replay, and it doesn't look like it's John's fault. It looks like something's broken. It's just gone straight ahead. So not too sure what's going on, but not the ideal start.
And looks like that car's not going anywhere. With the point structure this year, that means no points bagged from this round.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, once you're 15th and below, you're sort of gone, you know. So, I mean, we'll have a look at it, see what's going on. And I mean, we've got tomorrow, but you know, we really needed to get some points today.
He's a great guy. You really want this to be a great final year for JB, don't you?
Yeah, look, we'll get it right. It's a it's all pretty new at the moment, and so it's our second year, but we'll get it right for them all.
Hard luck, Paul.
Thanks, mate.
Here's a move. Mark Scaife, Jason Richards. Scaife takes a little curb on the way, but he's missed position now for the left-hander. Awkward place to be out there where there's no grip. He has to slot in behind again. Meantime, Courtney's getting a bit closer to the back of Winterbottom as we go on board with Scaife. Watch this.
This is for position number 9. He's trying to round up. He's currently 10th.
Oh, did he touch him?
Either way, Jason Richards has ended up on the grass at the exit of turn 13.
Might have done that on his own. I don't think he got to him, but...
Sorry, what was that?
That was the voice of Jason Richards. Let's listen and see if there's any more chat. A lot of people having trouble stopping at Wakefield. You can hear the tyre squeal in the background. I think Jason's got some other unrelated problem. That was the reason why he couldn't quite pull up down there in the final turn in front of Mark. But look at this for a pack.
For a battle, Mark Scaife, Jamie Whincup, Stephen Johnson and Garth Tander. So close. This will answer our question between Scaife and Richards.
Yeah, at that stage, you see Jason had already actually pulled wide of the race line. So Zinger replay gave us a little bit more information that we needed there.
These guys have all behaved themselves down through turn 8. What about 9? Situation remains the same. Tander backs off. So Scaife in 9th. Whincup 10th. That's Stephen Johnson in 11th. We have a change up the leaderboard because James Courtney has now lassoed Mark Winterbottom.
He's been closing at the rate of about 3/10 a lap. Incidentally, Will Davison, who's come back out after that work in the pit lane.
Meanwhile, this enthralling battle at the tail end of the top end continues. You're in the seat with Mark Scaife. Down through turn 11. Setting himself up for the final turn 13.
He's got the little blue light on the steering wheel there. Voice of Rob Starr generally means that he's got the lights on. He probably flicked them on before and he was in a battle. You try and use the lights to break the concentration of the driver in front and make him angry. Because when the lights come on and you're the guy in front, you think, what are you doing? Turn them off. And that's the sort of thing that Scaife likes to play out, just to unsettle and unnerve the guy, try and niggle him into being taken out of position.
Whincup's on his tail.
That was a great shot, looking at Whincup using every last millimetre of the curb on both sides of the road. Turn 8.
Oh, that's just mind-numbing. One of the things you noticed, Neil, certainly that I noticed, not only the super bright liveries of the Vodafone cars, but also the fitness levels of Jamie Whincup. As soon as you see him, you know that he stepped up between 2006 and 2007. A lot of the guys obviously do put in the hard work, but one guy in particular is Jamie Whincup. So the 78-lap distance, shouldn't worry.
He looks pretty carbon fibre, doesn't he? He looks fairly rigid. You see that shot that we had a moment ago on board Mark's car gives you an indication of the cockpit signs that show him which way to move the controls for the anti-roll bars front and rear in the car. It looks to me like he's a little bit vulnerable to Jamie at the moment. Jamie's car's settled down a little more strongly in this portion of the race. Turn 4. Big pitch in the car from rear to front on the brakes. You can see the rubber groove beginning to
trading blows. Scaife in 9th position. Whincup is in 10th. and he refuses to let go.
Jamie's car sliding here. Now here is the reason why there was a lead change. Remember I said going to the break that Winterbottom had a slow lap? That's the reason why. Outbraked himself at the turn 9 hairpin. The world has opened up for James Courtney. He made a shocker of a start, then 2 blokes went off on the oil, then the race leader goes off at turn 9, they give him the race lead back. So it just goes to show, don't freak out at the first blush.
Just having a word to Frosty's engineers there, and they said, look, it's no reason to be too concerned. He did pinch that wheel and lock up into the hairpin, but the tyre isn't damaged. His times are back up. They are confident in the balance of the car, and they want to again challenge for the lead. So the mood is pretty calm, very cool, and very collected at FPR.
All the Tasman Motorsport, they are scratching their heads. Jason Richards continues to slide down the order, and at the moment, Jason's saying the motor car is very, very hard to steer to the right. Sometimes. So they're not too sure. They thought it might have been a deflating tyre. They've had a check of that. They're going to bring him into the garage where more people can work on the car and try and work out this problem at Tasman.
There's a great match race going on between Scaife and Whincup. Up through turn 6, 7, down through 8. Whincup is looking inside. He's looking outside. Down to turn 9. Oh, he's going to have a dive. No.
You end up in no man's land out there, though, Matty. You're on the wrong side for the double left-hander behind the pit paddock. Oh, they're both running out of exit space. The compulsory pit stop window incidentally opens in a couple of laps, so start thinking about strategy too, folks, because that's another element in this motor race. Scaife's battling. He's getting a little touch up here from Whincup. Just a little hello and welcome, a rub on the bumper. Heard Mark, so I'm going to let him slide. Played the game before, he knows.
Yeah, mate, don't worry about it.
And he'll leave space at Wakefield.
Plenty of laps to go, mate, plenty to go.
That's where experience shows. We're a 5-time series champion.
Especially this year, because if they ended up locking horns and the both of them are hanging off the concrete, grinning at each other, then there are no points, and you can't really come away from this race meeting with 0.
More than likely it would have happened up there, Neil, because that's where Whincup was climbing all over the back of car 2.
Mark's car was a bit tardy, 5th to 6th then. He was just into the hard cut on the rev limiter at 7,500. Here's the race leader. Last time through the margin was 1.2 seconds. Courtney to Winterbottom.
This man really turned the corner at round 6 of 2006 after a frustrating start to the season, and qualifying was everything for James Courtney.
Did you hear that call from Forgy?
Well, it's becoming a battle of the tyres now, Compton, as you predicted a little bit earlier. Stone Brothers Racing is saying that when James Courtney comes in, they're just weighing up whether to change all 4 or just 2, because they believe that Martin Winterbottom will need to change all 4 because of that flat-spotted tyre. So the battle of the tyres in the pits. Just to expand on Mark's point there, you've got a choice. You can rattle all 4 on, but you spend longer in the pits doing it, or you can change the working side, which is the left-hand side on these cars around this clockwise track, or you might choose to change the rears only. The pit window is open. Compulsory pit stops for fuel and tyres in this race. Russell Ingall, warfare here at the moment with Craig Lowndes. And Craig Lowndes will come in this lap as well.
That was
so
Courtney 4 and 5.
Lowndes in.
Pit window is now open. That means that all hell is about to break loose down there. We're on board with James Courtney.
Mate, we put 4 tyres on it. You're going to have to look after the front tyres from now on. We've got 58 laps to go approximately.
Very direct instructions. 4 tyres are going on. You're going to have to look after the front with 58 laps to go.
Watch these guys on the exit. You turn the tyre light off for me. We've got a AAA car coming in now. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Okay, mate, you're free to go. Come on.
Well, it was a good slick teamwork, but unfortunately...
Clear to go, clear to go.
Oh, it didn't hassle him too much. Paul Forgy was making sure that James was aware of that situation.
He lost a big pile of ground trying to get around those wheels, cost James Courtney.
Yeah, right, it's all going to happen now. Nice and smooth, mate.
Stephen Richards, so just making the point again, that cost James Courtney a lot of time. People will be making changes to the cars here as well, where drivers have complained about the balance of the car. This is Max Wilson.
Light off, please, mate. Fuel light off.
So people choosing to take fuel now on their burn rate. They want to get to the end of the race now. Watch this. Watch on the Zinger replay. James can't get out. Valuable splits of a second there.
And on the way in, Paul Forgy had warned him. He told him that the Triple Eight car was coming in. So he made him aware, James Courtney. Then he said, you're good to go. But James could see that tyre sitting there, but Paul couldn't.
This is where Craig's good. He's good for a lap after lap after lap hustle. And you'll grind away. They've probably tightened up the car in some way, shape or form. They'll have improved its performance. Was that rears only for Todd Kelly?
Caltex racing forward of Russell Engel.
All four.
You're clear. Go, 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 go.
Oh.
There's only inches in it.
Yeah, he didn't actually end up having to sit behind him.
I know, mate, it's a shit deal. I want you to bring your rear bar back up for me, please. Rear bar. Just hang on for a minute, man. Just fucking hang on for a minute.
Russell's busy. He's trying to deal with the traffic and slot in. Barry Hayes asking to bring the rear anti-roll bar up to full stiff because the car's now got 90 litres of, 90 kilos of fuel, 120 litres over the rear axle. So they want the car to be stiffer in the rear, keep transferring its weight to the front so that it steers. Fastest split to the second sector for James Courtney. This is the fascinating part of this motor race for me. Here's Lowndes back in now for fuel.
Board in the bay for the fuel, so stop on the board. CPS light off. This is a timed stop. Do not go until I release you. Hold, 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 hold. 5 seconds to go. Hold, 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 hold. Okay, mate, wait, don't make clear. Watch the speed. Make sure that CPS light is off, please. Fuel light off.
Just think about your bias. It's full fuel.
Please, fuel light off.
Mark Winterbottom's in. That was the voice of Kevin May. It was a timed stop. The flow rate's about 4 litres per second, and they waited to the very right moment to release Lowndes.
Ready, ready, ready. Go, 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 go. Okay, mate.
Winterbottom shoots out.
CPS light off. Fire CPS
He
light
stalled
off.
it.
Everyone else in 4 tyres, so we shouldn't have lost much time to them.
Man, it's some pressure down there.
And that's what they trained for. Well, it was Rick Kelly in front of Mark Winterbottom there. He just saw Lee Holdsworth come shooting around. Gee, he's doing a terrific job.
You see the fuel in and the vent coupling. When the fuel's coming back to the vent, you know that it's got the 120 litres of fuel, which is the maximum capacity, but there was a bit of spill on the dry brake then. Scaife getting fuel. Most people back-to-backing. We've seen it done here before.
Get ready. Go, watch Morris, watch Morris, watch Morris. Let him go, mate, you won't get him.
Warning to watch out for Paul Morris. See your Xbox split times there. Second back to third.
Courtney's fast at the moment. He's just done another quick split to the second sector of 49.24.
I want to know how dangerous it is down in pit lane. One of the team Vodafone guys had a few toes broken the other day, so they've got a rookie down there. First ever time. Trying to ease him through.
It's hard to describe the pressure in that pit lane for everybody.
Here's Garth Tander.
Go, go.
Rears only then. Nice stop. Very nicely done.
Exit, mate. Watch the cars. Sorry, got spotted just in front of Engel.
Traffic.
Oh, big leap across the curb for Tander. Cold rear tyres. 22.8 that lap for James Courtney in the race. That's a knockout time. He's the only guy to get into the 22 so far. The boy's on fire. The order's shuffling left, right and centre.
Well, the lap record belonged to Jason Richards, set here last year, 122.824. James Courtney has just done a 122.8164.
Whincup on Bargwanna. Oh, stall. Watch for Whincup down the inside under brakes. He's got it done. It's clean.
Plenty of cool heads prevailing in these pressure situations. Certainly not what you'd expect to see for the first race of the season, where the blood is really boiling with Jason Bargwanna in the WPS. Car number 10.
We're seeing great racing though, real pressure motor racing. Everybody's right on their tippy toes. Look at this up the inside here. Tander on Bargwanna.
And Engel
runs with them.
Well.
It's 2.4 seconds now, the margin. Todd Kelly, James Courtney.
James has just done another quickest lap, 122.80.
Car's good and he's driving it extremely well.
This is the pack we're chasing. Around about 10th position, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Jason Bargwanna has already felt a couple of blows along the way. Under the pressure, decided the smartest thing to do was get out of the way.
Car 67 has got a problem, so Paul Morris is in the lane. He's got trouble.
I was just sitting in on an SBR debrief on that last pit stop there with Courtney and I asked Paul Forgy how much time do you think he lost out of that in net terms, and he said, well, way too much. He said, but that's okay because we have the fastest car on the circuit and we're going to pull Kelly in very, very quickly. He did stall trying to get out. That was as a result of Lowndes cutting across the nose and not quite finding his pit bay perfectly. That trapped James, and on full lock, he couldn't quite get the car out. He'd stalled, but he got away. He lost valuable seconds, but he does have a great car underneath him.
Let's check out the Xbox 360 leaderboard. You can see Todd Kelly in first position on the road at the moment. Oh, Craig Lowndes versus Max Wilson at turn 9.
About these bars while we're doing this too.
Campbell Little giving the instructions to Lowndes. While we're doing this, I take it means while we're rounding up Max Wilson, who went back to Brazil during the off-season and caught up with some old racing mates, Rubens Barrichello, Antonio Pettonia.
Paul Morris, what's the problem?
What's leak? Now, it's broken.
Good thing, isn't it?
Sorry?
Always a good thing to happen around here.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky it didn't happen through turn 8, so felt a break on turn 7. You know, I clipped the curb on the inside when I'd come down. It just, the diff was wobbling left to right, so that'll be it for us today.
Got to love motorsport, don't you?
Yeah, hard luck.
Get out of there quickly, Daniel.
Paul wasn't seeing the amusement in a broken Watts link around here. It's probably the bolt that's broken that locates the whole rear suspension, and once it parts company, then the car has a mind of its own when it comes to steering.
Max Wilson just refuses to give in to the pressure that applied by Craig Lowndes. On board we go with Team Vodafone car 888.
Go, 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 go.
Now for Jason Richards.
They had a little bit of a snag on that hub.
There's Stephen Richards, pretty quiet in his new car.
So everybody will have been hanging out for a safety car that hasn't happened. So they'll have a couple of strategies up their sleeve.
Now you've done it.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I'm thinking in terms of the pit stop, so I'm not saying there won't be a safety car before the end of the race, but here we go again with Lowndes. Let's watch and listen.
WPS racer of Jason Barguano goes in and out. Fuel in. Russell Ingall, and we continue with Craig Lowndes. Turn 6. Clean air along the back straight. Brock straight now before turn 8.
And the 100% throttle point to point, there's just a little over 500 metres, so you don't get to rest here for terribly long. Craig's already starting to sniff cooler air out from underneath the back of Max's car. Once you spend a lap like that behind another car with the hot exit air, your water and oil temps will immediately jump up.
Wow, racing car will not give in to the pressure of Craig Lowndes.
That's the car, Max. Tell me how the car is.
You could sense that coming. Craig getting frustrated. Remember, he's taken both stops. He's got fuel on and tyres. Max Wilson yet to take the fuel. Correction, yet to take the tyres. He's taken the fuel. So they were out of sequence with each other. I thought he'd got him, and then clearly the job wasn't done, and then they tagged each other at 4. Russell had nowhere to go. Damage on 3 cars. Right. This is his second stop for fuel. Tyres were done on lap 29.
Fuel on lap 38. Fujitsu forward. Taken on a lot, Brightech Motorsport in 2007, including a rally car program as well. Out there at Dandenong, but Jason Bright is a very smart man and he likes to be in the big chair. Weekends now, he's in the hot seat. As well, Steve Owen. Car 55, Rod Nash Racing. 15th position on the road at the moment, as the pit stops still continue to play a part. Riding with the Gel Gwen Motorsport, car number 4, James Courtney, who's in second position with his tyre stop on lap 27, and so did the man in front of him, Todd Kelly, as they weave their way through some back markers. Lowndes again. Remember, he's completed both his pit stops. He's got a little tap to the front left. A bit of panel damage to the rear as well.
Have you got any suggestions, Campbell, on how much, what I can do to this thing to get some more turn?
Super cheap auto car.
Go.
Bit of bodywork there, dragged a bit of carbon off it.
So we're on lap 40 of 78 as Cam McConville rejoins the race.
The highest placed driver who's done both. Have a look at this, by the way, up in turn 4.
The Zinger replay should provide the answers. This was going this battle for lap after lap after lap.
Lowndes looked like he sort of got there, and then all of a sudden nothing was happening. He wasn't far enough up on the inside. Tags Max Wilson, round he goes, and Russell Ingall made contact. Now James Courtney taking fuel. This is significant.
It'll also be worthwhile watching Todd Kelly.
Ready to go. You're getting close, mate. You're getting close.
So looking,
Okay,
he's actually looking at it going into the car. Now the best placed bloke who's done both things so far, fuel and tyres, is Greg Murphy, but he's 54 seconds off the lead. I'll be interested to see how this stabilises.
Just had a word to Craig Gore, who has a firm grip on, of course, Max Wilson's car, and a firm grip on anything that he believes to be a misdemeanor towards his team, and they are going to protest now. They believe, fair dinkum, that they were tapped from behind. It was unfair sportsmanship, in Craig's words. They're going to keep Max out there. The car seems to be going okay. Max is pretty vocal on the radio that Craig certainly did him wrong.
And race control will have a long, hard look at that, and they may choose to intervene during the race. They may discuss it after the race.
Low speed.
Craig's complaining of understeer, low speed understeer, meaning the front of the car doesn't have enough grip. He asked Campbell for help. What can I adjust in the car to help me?
Well, Roland Dane from Team Vodafone maintains that Craig Lowndes made no contact. They said there's nothing wrong with the front of his car, and there was no contact made. You be the judge.
Definitely panel damage to the rear of Craig Lowndes' car, and I think you'll also find that there is a bit of a bump on the front left as well, but we'll check that out next time Lowndes comes around. Here is car 7 of Shane Price, who started back in position number 31 after making a real mess of that Jack Daniels car throughout the practice session. And we learned about the...
Yeah, Shane, just watch the blue flag. Don't get too stuck looking in your mirrors.
Perils of this sport in the hard way.
Someone's got a huge problem there with an oil leak, a lot of blue smoke. It was one of the Gary Rogers
Lee
cars.
Holdsworth. That is Lee Holdsworth. That's Jamie Whincup behind him.
Is there oil dropping? That's the question. The minute other drivers see the blue smoke, they'll be on alert. Big chance there's oil dropping.
See you on the screen, mate. We can see you on the...
This is a pity for Lee Holdsworth because he's done a really good job here.
Jamie Whincup in behind. Great shot. Race director Tim Schenken's asked officials to monitor any oil being dropped.
Black 33, please, and set the ball.
Yeah, black flag. Look at that.
Oh, out she goes.
She's a monster now.
Mechanical black flag, car 33, mechanical black flag, car 33.
That is Tim Schenken making it official. So Lee Holdsworth, it's a mechanical black flag.
Mate, you're going to have to drive it in the shed. Drive it in the shed.
Needs to get off the race line.
Good, did you receive that? Over.
Sorry, Jim, can you repeat?
Mechanical black flag.
Take it easy, mate. It's leaking some serious oil.
Cameron Stevens talking to Lee Holdsworth.
They're worried that if he presses on at a rate of knots, he'll end up in the concrete. So he's done the right thing. He's off the race line now. The cabin will be filled with blue smoke as well. It'll be choking in there. Oh, be careful. He'll end up in the concrete wall here.
Lisa, is it still making eyes now?
Oh, dear. They're trying to determine whether it's an oil leak or whether they've got a mechanical failure. That's why he's asking, is it making power?
Okay.
It's teammate ducks inside, Dean Canto.
Sometimes oil lines can drop off, and it's not as catastrophic as it looks. You hold your breath when he goes out in the marbles because you dead set can't steer them out there. Rick Kelly. Standard routine as they take fuel, clean the screen, check the radiator intake, check the brake ducts. See him looking at the fuel in the rear view mirror.
Well, Gary, it's a serious sort of a problem.
Well, it's serious enough that we'll have to stop. It's a bit unfortunate. I mean, the car was going great, as you can see, but it's bounced over a curb somewhere along the line. It's pulled an oil pipe off and it's blown the oil out onto the exhaust. I mean, so long as we didn't run out of oil, you could keep going, but it's hardly fair for the opposition, as you can see.
Plenty of have a look. You should see that. Well, I guess you can if we kick it. Look at this. The garage is absolutely full. I tell you what. Talk about the quit hotline. These guys will need to get onto this. And well, actually, the marshals are now here with a fire, guys, under the bonnet.
That's dangerous. Dangerous stuff. Down at Gary Rogers Motorsport. Daniel Gibson there talking to Gary. At the same time, Lee Holdsworth, who qualified in 10th position, as his race brought to a smoky end.
There's a lot of chaos in the background.
James Courtney with Todd Kelly in front of him. It's been a familiar sight throughout this race for James.
And Todd Kelly's the best positioned car in this race, having done both the stops, Matt. And he's currently showing third on the road, but Whincup and Canto are yet to take their additional stop. So look for car 22 to emerge as the man.
That will put Courtney in second, Winterbottom in third. Rick Kelly and Greg Murphy in fourth and fifth position. Once those top two peel off for their second pit stops. Max Wilson buys into the argument yet again.
Word from Paul Forgy to James then was watch the little brake lock-ups, mate, because position 2 is a whole lot better than position 22. James didn't actually use words to answer, he just pushed the button, so there was a bit of engine noise, which was effectively, yeah, okay, I got it. Generally speaking, the drivers have got enough self-discipline to know that, and if the radio call comes at the wrong time, it's often quite disturbing in your rhythm. Wouldn't do it in this race, but I've known drivers, some races, to occasionally unplug so you don't get driven crazy by people who don't know what's going on in the race car.
Never would have done that yourself, would you?
No.
And both of these cars really providing exactly what you want for the first race of the season, consistent speed and being able to steer clear of trouble. I guess the impressive thing, Neil, about James Courtney is that he started on pole position for the first time in his V8 Supercar career.
32 laps to go, Todd, 32 laps. Nice and smooth, mate, nice and smooth.
Todd Kelly just being given the rundown for the rest of the race, 32 laps to go.
And that was the voice of Matthew Crawford. And Todd leads this motor race after Whincup and Canto have done their stops.
My point there was that it shows maturity, doesn't it? When you're only 26 years of age, to be able to dig yourself back out of that hole and get right back up towards the lead. So here's Whincup, who is the on-road leader at the moment, but only has pitted once for tyres on lap 27. Team Vodafone driver collecting his first round win here in 2006.
He's got an 18.7 second lead, Matty, but he's not yet taken the second stop for fuel. Neither is Dean Cantor, who's second on the road at the moment. That effectively makes the lead of Todd Kelly in car number 22, who's third on the road at the moment. He's only marginally in front of James Courtney, and those two are set for a pretty interesting battle. Oh, trouble here for Brad Jones. Now, big message through on Race Control Channel. Car number 888, Craig Lowndes, is going to get a drive-through penalty for giving Max Wilson a touch-up in turn 4. So Craig Lowndes, we're riding with at the moment, will make a tour through the pit lane.
Telemetry down a little bit, I thought he'd get there. Yeah, just keep pushing on. It's obviously bad into with Wilson.
It's Campbell Little giving Craig Lowndes the bad news. Roland Dane, the team principal at Team Vodafone. So the winners and the losers out of that battle, well, they're clear. The loser, the battle between Lowndes and Wilson, was certainly Team Vodafone race here. This is Dean Cantor, who is second on the road at the moment, but like Jamie Whincup, he's yet to make his second pit stop. He'll do it right now.
Came in for tyres on lap 28. This is the fuel stop. It's going to take quite...
Okay, mate, take your time, pull up on the mark. Be close to that pump.
Voice of Steve Kramer. In goes the fuel. Because they're so far down in the tank, it'll take quite a while to fill it.
Out he goes. Won a race in 2006 in the reverse grid format. Round 3 at WA. Finished 17th in the championship, and here comes Craig Lowndes for that drive-through penalty.
One man who was a force the end of last year and this morning, second fastest in the warm-up, is now out of the car. Sad, sorry, and very sore, Will. What's happened?
Listen, Grant, it's an issue I've got with my back at the moment, which we sort of got on top of last year. It always caused me a bit of grief, but we've been working on it for 12 months now to get it spot on for this race. And in the warm-up this morning, I sort of really pinched a nerve, or something was really painful, and I've been with the chiro all the morning, massage, and trying to get it right. But from lap 5 on, I was in absolute agony, and I was in a reasonably good position before my puncture, and I was just putting up with it. And then we went a lap down due to the puncture, and I was just circulating, and I was about to crash the car. I couldn't push the brake pedal. I couldn't even push the throttle, and considering we were a lap down, I just said, I've got to come in. I'm going to ride the car off. So it's just so disappointing. It's trying so hard for this race, and physically I feel brand new. It's just...
It's fairly symbolic of how tough this race is. Described to everybody at home what Clipsal can do to you.
It's just, I mean, the heat's a massive issue, but today it wasn't unbearable like last year, but there's just so many bumps, so many start sort of corners, and it's obviously really exaggerated the nerve I'm pinching in my back, and I tried to put up with it, but at least I was physically going to get sick in the end, because also the heat makes it even worse, and I just had to come in.
Hard luck, buddy. Not only is it obviously like being in a sauna, but it's like a gym workout in a sauna. Sorry to not see you out there, mate.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll get this sorted, and we'll charge through tomorrow, because the car's very quick, so...
Tough.
Margin between Todd Kelly and James Courtney is closing as we look here at Andrew Jones, car number 12. Jamie Whincup's got a 26.9 second gap. No, he hasn't.
It's about to be eroded very quickly. This is the final pit stop.
And the total time departure from it.
Hold for fuel. 5 to go. Hold. 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 Okay, way to go. Clear.
Total time departure from a normal lap time.
Check your brake balance at your happy as early as possible, and check that your bars are well positioned. Thank you.
Ludo Lacroix is race engineer.
That's great, isn't it?
You do that one?
No, I'm not even going to try. But the net result of all that is that Todd Kelly is now our official race leader, having completed both his pit stops. Most of the guys have. Jason Marquardt is yet to. He's still out there trundling around 10th position.
I think he's come, Jamie that is, has come out behind Rick Kelly. I'll have about the 4th restart on this one. It takes about 34 seconds to come in, depart from your normal lap time, and then rejoin a normal lap time. So total time lost to get out, off the racetrack, in service, take your fuel, get out, depending on where you're at in the fuel level in the tank. Obviously, if you're right at the bottom of it, like Jamie was, you'll have to spend a bit longer to fill her up. So we're interested to see where he slots back in. Look at this battle. What a ripper. Holden versus Ford. Kelly versus Courtney. Great recovery from Todd Kelly. Very cranky with himself after qualifying. These two guys have got tyres, they've got fuel, they'll race to the flag.
They're young and they're fast. And they're very fiery.
To go, mate. 27 laps. Good job, pal. Good job.
You get the feeling, Neil, that this one, between these two guys, will go all the way.
Yeah, sorry for the pause there, Matthew. Race director Tim Schenken is asking his people around the circuit to look for loose bodywork on Craig Lowndes' car. So he might have another drive through, not a drive-through penalty as such, but drive to pit lane to rectify loose bodywork. He's come back into the field in 14th, Craig Lowndes, just ahead of Mark Skate. Last sector split between Kelly and James Courtney suggests that James has just caught a little on this lap. Let's check the margin. He pinched the 10th off him in total for the lap, so it's 0.8 of a second. That's what it looks like. And then not too far behind, 1.5 seconds behind James Courtney is Mark Winterbottom. He's not exactly out of this either. Alan Gurr and the Irwin Tools Ford Falcon, the other half of the Brytech team for 2007. Young bloke with a bright future. Great opportunity for him. Part 1, fuel stop for him. And we've got 52 laps down, so they'll have used basically everything, taken it almost bone dry.
Clear.
14th and 15th for WPS. The championship of 06. Big commitment again for 2007.
And message from V8 Supercar officials is that they're not worried at this stage about the bodywork on Craig Lowndes' car, so he can press on.
At Jack Daniels Racing. Team BOC, car number 12 of Andrew Jones goes bouncing around the curves at turn 1, and Stephen Johnson will take that position back. Lap 54 of 78. Had the worst start imaginable to his season. I guess about the only good part of that was that it was really only the front left section of the car where the wheel used to be.
He's not a happy camper at the moment, Bradley. There's nothing worse than being right in the public gaze in a race team or a car that's not working. It's frustrating. It's almost embarrassing. It challenges your love for the sport.
He's had more punches come in his direction than he's been able to throw today. Todd Kelly on the Xbox 360 leaderboard is our race leader, and you can see there the top 10 rounds down to Jason Bright. So the top 10 is now race official at the moment because all of those guys have completed both of their pit stops.
James Courtney's garage, there's a real feeling of quiet confidence. Ross Stone is with me. Ross, all going well for James so far?
Yeah, it's just a matter of keeping it going now. We've got plenty of speed, I think, and it's a case of looking after tyres and just keeping an eye on Winterbottom behind and obviously Todd in front.
And you did decide to change all 4 tyres for James?
Yeah, it takes a little bit longer, and we've done that because it's so hard in these hot conditions it's so easy, I mean, in these hot conditions to lock a front tyre, and then once you've got a flat spot on it, that's the beginning of the end.
Nice confidence about James at the moment, isn't it? He's had a good weekend so far.
Oh yeah, it's been hard work for James, it's been hard work for us, and we're really enjoying this. We love the racing like this.
We're enjoying watching you race. Thanks, Ross.
The crusty old racer Ross Stone and his brother Jim, they love it, they immerse themselves in it, that's all they think about. They're not too into the bright and shiny, the chrome and the pop plants, but they make a fast race car. And last lap for both Todd Kelly and James Courtney was separated by next to nothing. They both did 1 minute 24.4s, and the margin between them is 0.6 of a second, Matty.
You mentioned shinier. That was one of the things that James Courtney said about his second year. I need to be a lot shinier in my second year. Reed, I just need to be a little bit more polished. No excuses. Into turn 8. What a difference it makes for qualifying. Now, there were questions about the 888 car. The Team Vodafone Falcon of Craig Lowndes.
Russell Ingall made contact. There's the little ding in the bumper that Roland Dane wasn't sure about. Well, it is there, and he made contact with Max Wilson. And then Russell made contact in the right rear corner of the Vodafone Lowndes entry.
Here it is,
seeing a replay, and you'll see what happens. I thought he got up there, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. Then biff, there's the contact, no doubt about it. Roland must have been looking the other way, and Russell had nowhere to go. He did make a spot though, and then Craig receiving the drive-through as a result of that. Now, race director Tim Schenken called for V8 Supercar officials to have a look at the loose bodywork in case they needed to bring the car in to address that. No issue at the moment, and they'll leave him out there. Still 0.6 of a second. The fastest lap of the race and a new lap record so far for James Courtney. That was done on lap 32. There were 56 laps recorded in this 78 so far.
Super Team Auto Racing's Paul Dumbrell has retired from the race. We heard earlier about Will Davidson, problem in his back. Similar problems for Paul. His right leg, he cannot feel. A little bit hard to brake and accelerate and have that feel that you need around these concrete walls when you can't actually feel your leg. He's in the back of the truck, can't talk. Delirious from the heat and fumes around Adelaide.
Anywhere's dangerous, especially here.
Depending which brake master cylinders you use, if you've got a very firm brake pedal, you apply it so much and so hard around this track. And Matty, picture yourself with a 6-point harness on. Your hips are fixed in the seat and you're pushing with all your might, let's for the argument's sake say 10 times a lap. Imagine going to the gym, pushing as hard as you could on the heaviest weight you could find, repeatedly for nearly 2 hours. There are times where you see drivers get out of the car, they can't walk because it twists their hip and their lower spine in such an awkward manner. It's something you have to train for, and it's not an easy thing to get around.
And it has to come to the point, I know it happened to Mark Schaefer as well, it has to come to the point
21 laps remaining, Todd, 21 laps, have a drink, mate.
Where sanity prevails. Otherwise, I'm going to stick it into a wall. I'm safer if I just end this thing now and try and fix my body back. On board we go with the Geldwen Motorsport Falcon of James Courtney in second position.
I'll tell you what, these onboard shots, they really do put you in the driver's seat, but one thing that they don't show you, Crompo, and you will agree, is just how physically tough these things are. I did a couple of calculations when we went to Bathurst for the first time last year. I looked at how many times we pressed the brake pedal, how hard that is, and it's 100 kilo in a DJR car, 100 kilo per press. We were moving 6 ton of weight throughout the race through my right leg. Now, when I first got into a V8 Supercar, I literally had to use both feet on a brake pedal. I was not strong enough. So many, many gym sessions lead to finally have enough leg strength, but you just can't, you really can't test yourself in a gym around here.
You need bigger boots, Grant.
Yeah, I was actually pulling on the steering wheel to push harder on the brake pedal. That was the problem. Not to mention, of course, sitting on the full A to Z phone book.
The white and yellow pages.
Now that he has led us into it, that'll teach him having those pixie feet, both of them on the pedal. 0.7 of a second, thanks Grant, is the margin between Todd Kelly and James Courtney. This is fascinating, Matthew, because if you watch carefully, there are places around the track where the margin closes right up and there's other spots where Todd's able to skip away. So I'm trying to focus on the areas where James has the strength and the weaknesses to see whether that will result in a pass if he can get close enough. He's sliding. He slid the car then through turn 8, so the back of the car was out of shape. He's good under brakes. Some of that's a little visual concertina effect, as the car in front clearly puts the brakes on first. Little scrap here. This is for 4th and 5th between Rick Kelly and Jamie Whincup, looking rearward from Rick's car.
And that was the interesting thing, wasn't it? Because graphically, it was a graphic illustration when Whincup was all the way over the back of Mark Scaife. You could see up around turn 6, 7 and back on the way, back on the Brock Straight, that Whincup clearly had the advantage there. But this battle that we just saw between Todd Kelly and James Courtney is a different story altogether. It's been around 0.7 of a second. It doesn't close or extend too much all the way around.
Black flag for Brad Jones, unauthorised work on a car during a compulsory pit stop. So just to make the day even more pleasurable for Bradley, he's going to have a tour through the pit lane to wave to all his friends.
He keeps that helmet on because he's sick and tired of copping the body blows. Says it all for Rick Kelly. He completes another clean flying lap and holds down position 4. Looking out the back towards Jamie Whincup.
Briefly teammates in 2005, and look at the third car in the frame here, Mark Winterbottom. Let's have a look down through the order. Rick Kelly is next. There's Jamie Whincup. Bit of a margin then back to Garth Tander. He'll pop into shot shortly. There he is. And then it's another margin back to Greg Murphy, who's having a pretty good run here at the moment in 7th. Then Russell Ingall is the next in the queue in the Caltex car. This will establish some gaps for you. You can see where your favourite driver is. Stevie Johnson in the Jim Beam entry is in 9th position. We're focusing, looking from turn 9 back to turn 8. The fast sweeper.
There's Jason Bright. Right behind him is Dean Canto, Stephen Richards, Alan Kerr and the Irwin Tools.
It's Craig Lowndes in 13th. The next bloke in the queue will be Mark Scaife. He's a little further behind again. So that runs through the top 13 or 14 cars. Jason Bardwana is 15th. There's Scaife. He's 14th. Establishes in your mind exactly where they all are relative to each other. But the big story at the moment is Winterbottom is closing, and the margin between Todd Kelly and James Courtney is closed to a point where they're at it.
Yes, we sure do have a race on our hands at the season opener. Rob Starr, HRT. How's Todd's car holding up? Will he get there okay?
At the moment, there's obviously not much difference between Todd and James there, so it's a tense race, and whoever makes a mistake will probably cost him. So at the moment he's doing a great job, and hopefully he can just keep focused, and the car's strong enough to get there, I think.
You put the 2 new tyres on Todd's car earlier?
Yes, we just went the 2 tyre option. We figure the time you lose in the pits can be critical, so as it's turned out so far, it's put us up a place.
All right, Rob, all the best, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
Under 20 laps to go. And if you're loving this, don't forget we get to come back and do it all again for the final 250 Ks tomorrow.
Matt Crawford's just asked for a brake bias change on Todd Kelly's car. Now that the fuel's coming off, he's got to take a little bit of the rear brake off, put a bit more percentage to the front. 0.68 was the margin. Both of them on that lap. Todd Kelly at 24.3, James Courtney at 24.4. Mark Winterbottom, as I said before, quick at 24.1. He's just 1.7 seconds behind James Courtney. He continues to close, and there he is.
So too does Rick Kelly, Neil, because Rick has posted a 23.9. And he is in 4th position. He's been putting together very clean laps. And he's been out there pretty much on his own, aside from a little bit of pressure from Jamie Whincup. There's our defending series champ. You're on board with the Big Pond in-car camera.
Fourth position, Kelly.
Comes into 2007, 5th favourite with the bookies to defend his title.
It's Jason Richards, I think, that ran wide down there in front of him, out of the picture at the moment.
So you know the man who's favourite for the overall series title for 2007 coming here.
Great effort, mate.
Craig
That's what it's all about. 15 to go. 15 to go.
Great effort was the message to Todd Kelly. Notice some cars have got more brake dust on the front rims than others, which will tell you that they're using different pad material. The Todd Kelly and James Courtney's car, the James Courtney car, look very clean. Rick's car, by comparison, looks a lot grubbier around the rim, so maybe those OZ wheels are extracting more air through the centre of them. This is the battle for first and second. The computer says at the last crossing of the control line, it was 0.63 of a second. It seesaws in different parts around the racetrack. Winterbottom continues to get closer. On the last sector, he pinched a couple of tenths from them. Courtney's been sliding the car through turn 8. Sprint carring at 210 kilometres an hour. A little lock up of the brakes. He runs a slight bit wide down there at 9. He can't do that because Winterbottom will be all over him.
Yes, all over him. He is Tim Edwards from Ford Performance Racing, who's with me. Mark Winterbottom just on fire at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, he's putting in some good consistent lap times, having a little bit of trouble getting through some of the back markers when they're a lap down, but apart from that, yeah, he's quite comfortable in the car.
And you must be pretty happy too with the way he's going right now.
Oh, very much so. You know, there's still another 12 laps to go, so we'll wait and see.
Well, good team effort. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
James lost time then. He lost 0.4 of a second, which has given the margin first to second now. That is Kelly to Courtney out to 1 second, then it's 1.3 back to Mark Winterbottom. Here they are, approaching turn 4 at the end of Wakefield Street.
It relieves the pressure off Todd Kelly a little bit, puts more pressure back on James Courtney via Mark Winterbottom.
James has got a little bit of extra pace in the car, but he looks the slightly more ragged of the two. Todd Kelly appears to be in a very solid rhythm at the moment. They cross the control line. What is the margin? It's exactly 1 second. 24.4 for Todd, 24.4 for James, and a 24.8 for Mark Winterbottom. A little mistake. And on the last lap, Rick Kelly did 23.7, so he's buying a ticket into this little battle as well.
And there again, he just did a 24 flat. So consistently, Rick Kelly and this man is really applying the pressure. You're on board with Rick Kelly. Big Pond in-car camera takes you through turn 8. We're watching him closely. He's in 4th position at the moment, but out of the top 4 drivers, his brother Todd, James Courtney and Mark Winterbottom, he's setting the consistently faster time.
It's brilliant to watch the footwork. Motor racing is as much a foot skill as it is a hand skill. Flat shifting, 100% throttle, just kissing the clutch. This is the second last corner. Carries a little bit of brake all the way to the apex to keep the load in the front of the car. See how judicious he is with the throttle application. Uses the clutch.
And on that lap just completed, James Courtney was the best. He made up 0.4 of a second on Todd Kelly out in front.
to make sure he had pedal pressure before he got to 8. And again. And on the straight pulls from 3rd to 4th and 5th to 6th, he's not using the clutch at all, but across the gate, 2nd to 3rd, 4th to 5th, he uses the clutch just to make sure that in case he misshifts, he doesn't poke it into a lower gear and over-rev the engine. The base of the floor is carbon fibre. It's elevated off the floor to try and just make sure that he doesn't cook his feet to see drivers get out with blisters, and he is continuing to be quick. 24.1 on that lap, fastest of the top 4 cars. 4.3 for his brother, 4.4 for James, and 4.4 for Winterbottom. Back to 0.7 of a second between Todd Kelly and James.
Just said the word there, points. At this stage, Todd Kelly can bank 36 championship points. The difference between 1st and 2nd over a 2-race format in 2006 is 6 points. So at the moment, James Courtney has 30 points to collect. The incentive is there if he wants it to collect another 6.
Just in the bunker at SBR talking strategy with Paul Forgy for James Courtney. And look, you can see clearly now visually they are taking some chunks of time out of Todd Kelly. They feel that they can continue to do this. They don't really want to challenge. They're comfortable where they are considering what they have to do tomorrow. But they're going to try and hustle on the back of Todd Kelly, try and rub him into making an error and maybe get past that way. But I don't think you're going to see an outright street fight unless Todd makes a mistake. But watch James Courtney. He'll be all in Todd's mirrors.
Gap just came down slightly, 0.6 of a second. It's at the top end of that number, 0.68. But James taking a little bit of time. James has got a tiny bit more speed, but he's just coming out of rhythm more frequently than Todd, who looks to be pretty rock solid on board here with James.
There's your Xbox 360 leaderboard. Kelly and Courtney, who we're riding with. Winterbottom is behind him. Rick Kelly is applying maximum pressure. Whincup, Tander and Murphy make up our 7.
Using a very long gear lever in the Stone Brothers cars. That's a trademark of theirs, so the driver doesn't need to reach as far from the steering wheel to the lever. The big anti-roll bar controls in it poking up out of the floor as well. Shot now looking through the windscreen. Margin disappears on this bit of the track. Todd's got a couple of other strengths in the first half of the circuit. James grabs 5th through the right-hander at 12. Some drivers just hanging on there in the rev limiter at 4th.
Whose demeanour has been good from the word go in this race. Blink of the eyes to get rid of the sweat. And here's the Orcon Ford Credit FPR Falcon of Mark Winterbottom under pressure from Rick Kelly in turn 9. Kelly gets him. Rick Kelly moves up to 3rd position. So that pace that he was showing over the last 8 or 9 laps has finally paid dividends. That puts Kelly on the podium at the moment and relegates Mark Winterbottom to 4th.
That's the go.
Great lap speed then from Todd Kelly at 24.2. That's a little cop this. 0.4 margin he made over James Courtney on that lap. Rick Kelly at 24.5. So that takes the margin back out to a 2nd. That's a little heartbreaker with 8 to run. Kelly just did a 24.3 on the last lap. Took another big chunk of time out of Todd Kelly and James Courtney. So as the fuel loads come off the number 1 car, it's really come alive. Conversely, Mark Winterbottom did a 24.8. So as his tyres and brakes are getting to the wrong end of their life, he's actually starting to battle.
As always, Neil, and of course Mark Winterbottom does not give up a podium position very easily. His brake temperatures are at the wrong end of the spectrum. They are a little out of control, so he's had to bring his brake distances back, which is what was costing him just a little bit of time. But in the last couple of laps, he did lock up, which is now costing him. So that's what's forced him to drop that spot there to Kelly. But talking to his engineer, he's a quiet boy on the radio. He doesn't really talk a lot, so they're not really sure how bad the car is or whether it'll drop back much further. But that's what's taken him out of that podium position.
Remember to visit bigpondsport.com for all your favourite sports, including the V8 Supercars live and on demand. There's Eric Pender keeping a watchful eye on Rick Kelly, and here comes Jamie Whincup, who now rounds up Mark Winterbottom.
So that further extends the point that Grant just made, that Mark is really nursing now. He's seen the best of the brake performance of the car. He can't fight. He's just got to bring the car home. So Whincup slots up 1 spot to 4th. Meantime, Rick Kelly continues to be fast to the 2nd sector split on this lap. He peeled another 3/10 away from his brother and James Courtney. He's 3
Good job, Jerry. Nice and smooth. 5 laps to go. 5 laps to go. P4.
Ludo Lacroix talking to Jamie Whincup.
1 second is the margin, Todd Kelly to James Courtney. Rick Kelly 3.5 seconds down, and then another 2.2 back to this man, Jamie Whincup, and then Mark Winterbottom is 5th. Garth Tander is 6th, Greg Murphy 7th, Russell Ingall 8th, Stephen Johnson 9th, Jason Bright in the Fujitsu Brightech entry, first time in his own car and his own team, 10th. He'll be pretty happy with that. It's a reasonable performance.
That section of the track we just went through has been particularly handy for Jamie Whincup. Here's Garth Tander. He's holding down 6th position.
Definitely a lot more brake dust on the front wheels of the Toll HSV cars. They're different wheels to some of the cars in the field, and as a detail at the top of the show, there's 3 different variety brake pads being used. We never know exactly what each team's running, but you can clearly see that it's throwing a lot more brake dust through the centre of the wheel.
Greg Murphy will be very, very happy in car number 51 because he's up inside the top 10. After a couple of very lean years, he's now at Tasman Motorsport. Russell Ingall in 8th position, and Stephen Johnson in 9th.
Russell was right at the limit under brakes down there before. You saw a glimpse of Rick in the background, and Courtney could be under some threat from Rick Kelly. And Greg Murphy has just been told to go to reserve. Now that's interesting, where 74 in the bag out of a 78-lap race. You can only have a maximum of 8 litres in the collector. May not make it. Depends on how their fuel system's rigged. But that'll be really line ball for him. Rick Kelly on the charge at the moment. It's at the back of the bonnet, the rear of the plenum area on the new E-Series Commodore for Kelly there, just having a bit of a flap.
A lot of flapping going on there. You see it there, just down towards the bottom of your screen. Certainly not worrying him. Look at those times.
Green boxes there.
Lap 71 through to 74, consistently chopping in to the time of the race leader, Todd Kelly.
That particular lap, though, he just lost a little bit in the first couple of sectors. Whincup is not very far from him. Whincup actually did the fastest split of the top 4. He's in the game.
It's such a smooth relationship between Eric Pender and Rick Kelly. They don't have to say much to each other, but it's all very simple. Concentration, relaxation, rhythm.
Todd Kelly's putting an exclamation on the end of this, at the moment. He's just did 24.3. He's moved the margin out to 1.49. 24.4 for James Courtney, 25.5 for Rick Kelly. That was a tough lap for him. And a 24.2 for Jamie Whincup, the fastest of the top 4 on that lap.
Just spoken to Wally Story from Tasman Motorsport, and Jason Richards has been told to switch to reserve. Of course, in qualifying, we saw him run out of fuel after about 2 laps. I just asked Wally, will he make the finish? He said, I'm not sure about that.
The last time you said switch to reserve, I think about 10 seconds later, Jason Richards was parked.
Whincup's going to buy into this. His exit speed there off turn 8 was quick. He was much closer to the back of Rick Kelly than the previous lap. So Todd Kelly's eased away now and shifted the focus from the first to second battle to this one here, because Jamie Whincup, the defending Clipsal 500 champion, is starting to get very close to being all over the back of the reigning champion. Series champion.
2 laps to go.
The last couple of laps of the Clipsal 500 race 1. Still maximum pressure, no matter what your position. Whincup is trying to get onto the podium.
Oh, mistake for Rick Kelly. He locked the rear brakes. He couldn't get the car turned in, and he's lost a spot to Jamie Whincup.
That's that portion of the track also that Jamie Whincup has been so solid at.
Good job.
Kudos decided to call him up and tell him all about it. What a good job it was at turn 8. I reckon Jamie will have other thoughts at the moment.
Rick Kelly just made sure to let him know that he was still around. Thank you very much.
Watch this. When Rick turns it in, he's carrying a bit of brake and it just breaks away in the rear. He didn't get to the apex. The gap opened up. Jamie didn't need a second invitation.
Zinger replay, very clear in that circumstance. So, what does that make it? Todd Kelly leads the race. The Melbourne Motorsport entry of James Courtney.
1 lap to go. Nice and easy. Good job.
That we're riding on is second. Jamie Whincup now officially 3rd. Rick Kelly 4th. Mark Winterbottom 5th.
Bizarre how a couple of cars have changed in their behaviour really late in the race. The Winterbottom car strong and then fading. Looks like it's got a little brake issue. Rick Kelly's car just running out of a bit of rear grip when he needed it most at the back end of the race. All of a sudden, Jamie Whincup's in the battle. James Courtney's lost a little bit of pace. And Todd Kelly has never looked like being challenged in the last few laps. He's looking solid and in a rhythm at the moment and unfazed.
Well, it took 8 years for the Fords to get on pole position here. Only one driver has ever made it from pole to first in race 1, and that was Mark Scaife. Now his teammate, though, is putting himself right in position.
Back end of last year's championship from Oran Park, Todd Kelly did a lot of winning. 5 race victories in 2006.
They've carried the form into 2007. The Holden Racing team have had their problems, but Todd Kelly blows them all away. In the first round of 2007. James Courtney gets 2nd. Jamie Whincup 3rd. Rick Kelly 4th. And Mark Winterbottom 5th. Stone Brothers Racing, Ross Stone happy with that man, the youngster behind the wheel.
When you come in the pit lane here, you come all the way up to where the podium is, which is about where that little box is, where the guy waves the checkered flag on the...
Rob Starr, a very, very happy man.
Definitely, mate. Now, the hard work we've had over Christmas break to build these cars and to roll it out and do a job like that with Todd is fantastic, and great effort to the team.
We're a little bit worried on the dying laps there. We thought that Courtney certainly had the pace to get on top.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said earlier, the pace between the cars was so close, and it was just a matter of keeping focus. And Todd did a fantastic job, and we're really proud of him.
Another big day again tomorrow. Todd was not really complaining about the car. Looking forward, I guess. All smiles around. Tom's been over shaking hands and what have you. I mean, it is a long day tomorrow, but what do we do overnight?
Well, obviously, the cars are never perfect, so, we always want to try and find something better to make it go better. And Mark struggled with a flat spot tyre for probably half the race, so, I'm sure Mark's got some more speed in the car too. So, as I said, great result for HRT.
Go and enjoy. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Very happy Rob Starr, and so too with that man Jason Bright, because he's put in a top 10 performance in his first outing as owner-driver of Britec Motorsport, the Fujitsu entry. But Todd Kelly is the story of the day. Car number 22 puts Holden on top for the first race of the season. That's his first race win here on the streets of Adelaide for the Clipsal 500. A great performance from James Courtney and Jamie Whincup. Rick Kelly showed tremendous speed towards the back half of the race to climb his way up to 4th position, and Mark Winterbottom had his problems. Tander, Murphy, Ingle, Stephen Johnson and Bright round out our top 10. Stephen Richards there, consistent and solid as always. He goes into 11th position and banks 9 points for the start. Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife. Well, Lowndes really had his dramas and ended up in pit lane watching the world go by as a drive-through penalty. So your regulation drama has unfolded on the streets of Adelaide. We always know we're going to get something. Today, we got to house that from Todd Kelly. Closed out 2006 so well. The off-season has just been one nightmare after another, but not anymore. Not now.
Toddler! How good does that feel?
Yeah, what a fantastic car, the VE, hey? It's pretty impressive. We've only had really half a day's of testings prior to this race, and for it to come out and do what it's done, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm absolutely wrapped.
Take your helmet off and we'll continue our chat.
All right, thanks, mate. We'll just take a quick break.
He's certainly looking pretty fit. There's no doubt about him. Not too much sweat off the brow for the young fella. Any questions we had about this car and what sort of performance it was going to make on the race has certainly been answered. The new Holden stamping very early authority. What lessons do you take from today into tomorrow, Todd?
Well, we're a little bit behind into qualifying there. We had a few dramas with the car in practice, so we ended up putting a few things in the car for the race that we'd not tested, so we're a lot wiser now, and we really just need to fine-tune it for tomorrow and see what the weather does.
You ready to shake and bake again tomorrow, mate?
Shake and bake.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
James Courtney. That's a better start to last year.
Yeah, it's a heap better than we had last year. It's great to finish a race here, as last year I went out in both, so made a bit of a mess at the start, just dusting the cobwebs, I suppose, out of the system after the first start of the year. But the car had really good pace. We had an unfortunate pit stop where we got held up by either Lowndes or Whincup, just blocked our exit. So that allowed Todd to get out in front of us, and then didn't quite have the pace in the right areas to get past Todd. So it's a bit of a shame, but it's on the other hand, it's a fantastic result to the start of the year.
The car looked very, very good. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, guys.
If you wonder what it means to be a driver in a V8 supercar at the Clipsal 500, take a look at the state of Jamie Whincup. He has earned every lap there, mate. Extraordinary finish, a great street fight. That's what we love about Adelaide.
Well, thanks, Grant. The car was good today, and I think we trained for 3 months leading into this for moments like that where you're chasing down, the quality of Rick Kelly. And very, very satisfying to be able to pass him with a couple laps to go and get the third spot in the podium.
Explain this Mardi Gras vest of yours. Is it making much of an impact? How are you feeling?
Oh, it's full. I'm absolutely stuffed, to be honest, but got the ice vest, so just need to cool the core body temp down. I'll be right, and I'll be back out tomorrow. I'll be brand new.
You won this thing last year. How about tomorrow?
Well, I come third last year, so I've got a chance.
Well done.